that is where this last little minute that we're going to show you in this part of the show from the interview starts at that moment. So I used to do a segment on the Michael Brooks show, and I think he was on that at least once.
I miss that guy.
Yeah,
he was great.
Yeah, he was. He was one of my closest friends for the last couple of years before he passed.
He was a funny dude too, man.
He was
funny.
He was a very funny guy. What he would do, like
good impressions.
The like Nation of Islam Obama, and
he was just a really thoughtful, interesting guy who knew a shitload about politics and and about socialism. And he was a really good guy to sort of defend these positions of democratic socialism too, because he didn't seem like a bad person, when and even in critiquing other people that disagreed with him, I felt like he did it for the most part pretty reasonably.
Yeah, well, I think that one thing that he really got, and I actually think he helped me to get, since in the years since I met him, is that like a lot of people who agree with his position, with my position, don't think nearly enough about what's going to be appealing to like most ordinary people. And that meant a lot to me for a lot of reasons. One of which is that, and this is something that actually the whole week and a half or however long it was, again, I know that was the night of the Super Bowl since I got the invite, was a thought that had been kind of fucking with me all week, which was that, I mean, obviously it's fantastic, but it's, there's a bittersweet element because Michael really wanted to go on. Like he talked about it, many times, and I am 1,000% sure that if he were still alive, he would have been invited on there before I was. Right? That just seems like, and I know there are people like, oh, he wasn't invited on. It's like, yeah, nobody thought he was going to die at 37, right? That's not, like I think as he continued, as he got bigger, I think he absolutely would have gotten that invitation. He would have killed it, right? Because I think going on Joe Rogan is kind of what Michael Brooks was built for, and I think he would have been the best possible ambassador for normie friendly socialism, in that platform, right? I mean, what I was trying to do, I think I did an okay job of, but I think I think the Michael Joe Rogan episode would have been one for the ages. It's what is he? What would he be? I mean, obviously be very funny. He'd be cracking him up, but I mean, like the exact sort of approach that I was trying to take there, right? Which is like what people want, like what some people on the online left really want. It's like, oh, you should, every time a name was mentioned that you don't like, right? You should say they're a bad person, right? Because that's like definitely the most important thing to get across to the, millions of people who are watching you, or people say, oh, you should push back, and this and that and the other thing. And it's like, okay, well, clearly push back doesn't mean just sort of say, yeah, okay, but like, I don't really see it that way. Here's what I think, whatever. Like what people really mean by push back is like clap back. And I don't think that's a useful approach for this, right? It is in some contexts, right? I mean, I debated Charlie Kirk. That was obviously much more confrontational than this. If Ben Shapiro does what Joe Rogan says he would totally do, then that's going to be obviously much more of a debate than this. But even there, right, I'm not really interested in trying to, get people who already like me to slow clap. I'm interested in trying to say things that like, even like Charlie Kirk's audience, right, might mean something to them, right? Might like plant some seeds in those heads too. And certainly with somebody like Rogan, okay, look, yeah, obviously, I very much disagree with him about Jordan Peterson, and there are things that I see differently. There are issues where he has instincts that are very different from mine. But what I always want to know when people like what I was trying, what I wanted to do was most importantly, right, get across socialist ideas to Rogan's audience. Like that's priority one. And then I also want to kind of model how I think socialists could effectively have conversations with people who don't, agree with us about everything. We don't start from all the right starting points, right? But who are willing to have a friendly conversation about politics where they're fairly open to what you have to say, right? Like, I would be very surprised if there's anybody watching this right now who doesn't have like a cousin or a brother-in-law or like somebody, right? Who has, you know, at least as much disagreement with them as as they'd have with Joe Rogan, right? Who might not, in fact, concede quite as many things as Joe Rogan did in this interview, and to yeah, no, go ahead and clap. That's just not the goal. Yeah, that that wouldn't that but who is also willing to listen to what you have to say, right? Like that's something that I think is pretty universal. And what I want to know is, how do you talk to that person? Do you just like yell at them? I hope not, right? Like that's not going to be. We're about to hear from Union Jake, or I should really say the other Union Jake, that we're about to hear some stuff about organizing, and presumably in that context, it's definitely not what you're doing, right? Like what you want to do is you want to talk to somebody like a person, and make it clear that you take what they're saying seriously, you're listening to them, but like also like here's like to the extent that things come up that aren't even necessarily what you would want to focus on, like say reasonable things about them, say what you think, but like don't be a dick about it. And then try as hard as you can to like push them on the things that you think are the highest priority items to push them on, or that you think that they're most likely to be receptive to. I mean, that just seems obvious to me. You have been watching free public content from Give Them an Argument. To access every single episode of the show, the main show on Monday nights, all of the streams, all of the debate breakdowns, all of the patron-exclusive post-games on Monday nights, all of the patron-exclusive bonus episodes every week, and much, much more, go to patreon.com/Ben Burgis. I cannot resist ending this with, don't be foolish.